Hey everybody, David Olson here. You're listening to Tom and Zeus here on the Shout It Out Loudcast.
Oh boy. Here we go. This is Gene Simmons. Put that cookie down. KISS. I'm pressing the button. Stockbroker Simmons. Star? Paul Stanley. Is that what he does? Stop shouting. My name is Ace Riley. He's not what you would call a handsome man. Oh no, here come the KISS times. Is that a positive thing? Okay. All right. I'm gonna grab me an ice cold mellow yellow. Why? Why do that to the fans? Stop it. Why? Because fuck them. That's what are you talking about? 617-525-0888. You do? Hey, fucko. Do you like KISS? Settle down.
Hello. Hey, what's up there, KISS Army? Tom and Zeus, another episode of Shout It Out Loudcast, episode 273, Robert Vonti.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is real inside baseball for KISS nerds, so this will be a nice conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And, we've taken a break from the interviews. We found a good guy to get back into the interviews, so we think you're going to enjoy it. But
Yep.
We go backwards. Last week, we did an episode on the KISS reset, Tom.
Yep.
And we had a poll, didn't we?
Yep. So 4 options as always. Which of these 4 are you most looking forward to and or hoping for the future of the band? And the options are more off the soundboards box sets, Gene Simmons touring, Paul's Soul Station, or the Avatars. 49% said off the soundboards and box sets. 38% said Gene touring. 8% Paul and his Soul Station, and 5% with the Avatars. Couple comments here. Vain Bandit. I'd have to go with off the soundboard sets because the possibilities feel endless after the Poughkeepsie one. It's going to be hard to top that rarity factor of that release, but I can't help but hope for more eras to eventually be covered. Yes, I think that's what people want. So Hot in the Shade, Unmasked, Dynasty, whatever, who knows. KISS Army General says nothing. I would like to see nothing. I don't know why I just snorted.
I asked for nothing, expected nothing, I got nothing. Well, what'd you expect for nothing?
Exactly.
One of the great lines from Jailhouse Rock.
Yep. Michael simply is his name. I would love it if Gene Simmons played some solo shows in the U.S. and have Bruce Kulick either play with him or open for him. They could cover all eras of KISS and solo materials. I think everybody would obviously absolutely love that.
I'd like the original band to get back together and have the talent they had in the 70s. That's what I'd like to have happen. Okay.
Me too. Well, I agree. Yeah. Here's a good Twitter comment to end with. Chad simply says, "It's over, Johnny." That's what we got for Twitter.
Wonderful. Over on the Book of Face, Jason Rocco. Good episode, guys. A KISS reset is interesting notion, but as KISS is a band with an amazing 25-year career with 25-year retrospect extension, what fans expect and what we actually get are two different things. We love more off the soundboards, box sets, T-shirts, whatever. What it probably entails is KISS music and prescription drug commercials with different lyrics that pertain to whatever drug with a massive list of side effects they're trying to push. They'll show up some family playing fucking wiffle ball together in the backyard with Lick It Up in the background sung by some female singer for hire. Thanks, guys. That's the future of KISS. Just ask the band Pilot. It's Magic Ozempic.
Oh, God.
Ryan, Courtney, Cronin, Dold, Ramaswamy, Kulick, Lane, fucking Simmons, Tweed, fucking Rodham, Clinton. God. I'm glad they all seem to be doing what they want. They all deserve it. In regards to the Avatar shows, I'd love to see them go through their 50 years. They could depict all eras, include members like Mark and Vinny, include a great tribute to Eric Carr, and include songs you haven't heard in recent years. But what I think this will be is more of their preview of their final show, an animated Marvel movie set to KISS songs. Mm-hmm. Love the conversation. Great idea of a reset show. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ryan. What the fuck is Ryan? these 15 names person. All right. On Loudcasters, Eric Solomon. Great episode. Always entertaining. It would be cool if Peter could do another album. There was talks about that I was hearing. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Do another album.
Yep.
I'm not sure what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
Josh Brown. Congrats, Brad. I hand the trophy over to you this year, brother. An elite group of Loudcasters. That is, Josh is talking about Brad, who won the ARC Madness Song Tournament.
Yep.
I promise, fellas, if I travel through West Virginia, we'll have a beer. I won't let the inbreeds eat you.
Jesus.
Wrong turn.
That's right.
I really want a Kissology 4, but not stuff post-symphony. Just stuff we didn't get from the past, behind the scenes, making of albums, docs with all the members of KISS. We could possibly get a doc with everyone now. The Beatles anthology-style doc would be an absolutely insane. Question of the week, maybe. And then he asked a question of the week, which we'll save for later, and we might use at some point.
I have it. Yep.
Okay. John Whiteman. I hope they came up with something to get people interested in and excited about the avatars, like a TV series that establishes them as superhero characters or a really good movie, because I think people are going to care less about KISS when 2027 gets here.
Yeah, that's always been my concern. 3 years is a long fucking time in the world of pop culture and everything. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Thanos Akratides, who just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Thunder from Down Under.
That's right. Happy birthday. Yes.
Nice show, guys. I feel there's something brewing. It's just way too quiet. 45th anniversary of Dynasty, maybe a deluxe version of that.
Please.
We're just about due for another greatest hits KISS. Anthems, maybe? And surely we'll get the CD video from the end of the road shows. I don't know, brother. We really want those?
No, but they'll sell it. It's definitely coming.
Here's a Cleveland show of the end of the road. Here's Manchester, New Hampshire. Is there any difference? No.
No. Nope.
Tom, I'm going to go over to YouTube.
All right.
Carnival of Souls is my favorite KISS album. It's heavy, real emotional, deep, and meaningful. I think Bruce and a little bit of Gene is the main contributor to that record. It is his child. And maybe because of that, Paul's ego dislikes this album and doesn't give it more attention commercial. I love how, like, the Carnival of Souls shit is still coming in.
Yep.
Even on a KISS Reset episode.
Yeah, I love that too.
Tom, I'm going to hand it back to you.
All right, let's do a couple Instagram things here. Frank Joseph Rockstar Guitar. Been listening every day. Maybe have a show with 3 things you wish KISS had done over their 50-year career. Frank, go way back to the beginning of the early days of Shout It Out Loudcast. We did have a wish episode. Things we wish they did, things we wish that they did not do. But like the suggestion, I like it. Junior Vintage. My request of all Shout It Out Loudcast listeners is to go over to the Dorm Damage episode with Peter Dankelson. I discovered this guy through social media, and his story in overcoming obstacles is a real inspiration. His guitar playing is killer. Awesome stuff, guys. You are on a roll. Yes, Junior Vintage. We usually don't read any kind of feedback for our Dorm Damage episodes, but if people are going to chime in on Shout It Out Loudcast post, and especially with an episode with Pete, we're absolutely positively going to read it because he was fantastic. And like you said, quite an inspiration. So if you missed that, check that out. And let's blow through a couple emails. We got a ton of great ones here. Always appreciate the emails. Let's read one from Mark Bomer. While it will be very interesting to see and follow with enthusiasm what Tommy and Eric do next, the one to keep our eyes on the most is Bruce. Post Grand Funk Railroad, he's now poised to take a visible next step in his musical career. I can only hope that his work ethic and extraordinary musical talent pays off in a big way. On another note, I feel confident that the never-before-heard full KISS tracks will be somehow, quote, found and released. Legacy KISS fans like me will not only be thrilled, it's not a reach to anticipate at least one or more of the tracks will be performed by the avatars. Let's find out together. As always, TNZ, great job, and thank you. Well, thank you, Mark. Good stuff. KISS Reset from Music Vampire. Was listening to you two talk in the last episode about the future of the KISS avatars, and I had a scary thought. Imagine spending all that money for a ticket to see the avatars, and it's the end of the road set list. We'd still pay because we're Kiss-tards. I don't know what's going to happen, but it'd be cool if each song had a special video with effects and Easter eggs showcasing the band's history for when each song came out. Get ready, Zeus, to hear Psycho Circus and Say Yeah again. Oh, God. And we'll finish up emails with one from our buddy Cameron Holiday. Really insightful and thought-provoking episode this week, fellas. I think you guys posed several theories and possibilities that us KTs want to know the answers to. I recall one interview recently where the guest said that he had spoken to Peter, who told him he was planning to make a rock record. What that exactly means, I'm not sure. Yeah, we just talked about that. I believe that Paul and Eric will return to Soul Station when the time is right. Gene will still promote the new projects that Pop House creates, and Ace will just continue being Ace. Bruce and Tommy will continue to do events and hopefully create some new music. When the biopic is finished, the band will be certainly going on a press tour in support, so the spotlight will again be on the group. As far as everything else is concerned, I'm not sure where the band goes from here, but as both of you stated, it's an exciting time to be a Kiss fan because it's all up in the air. Anyways, great episode. Looking forward to the next. Cameron Holiday. Yeah. Like I said last week, it is kind of exciting for the first time in a while to really not know what the hell's coming. But
agree.
Yeah, that's emails. And again, we got a ton of great ones. Thank you guys for sending them. Again, we do read all of them, but we just can't read every one of them during the show. So again, thank you for all that sent something in.
So, Tom, we're going to go back to Facebook here, and we're going to read something from soon-to-be legendary commentator, Ronnie Bacharski.
Oh, God, I'm sure this won't be vulgar.
I'm sure that with this new Pop House deal will come lots of new merch. The one thing I'm hoping for is that they release Kiss 6 dolls so that we have a chance to fuck them as hard as they fucked us all at the final MSG show. Ronnie, for always towing the line, but still making it like suitable to be said, you have a gift and a talent, my friend. And this week, your gift has made you comment of the week.
Good answer. Good answer. I like the way you think. I'm going to be watching you.
Ronnie, it's been a long time coming, brother. Good stuff as always, my friend.
Yep. Tom, what we do next is we go over to Patreon. And
all right. All right. Booger.
You threw me off. And this week we have a new person that joined, and his name is Gino.
All right. Yeah, Gino.
So I don't know if it's Gino from the Celtics Jumbotron, that Gino likes dancing character.
Yep.
But Gino joins us as a spaceman in the Spaceman tier. Gino, thank you so much for joining. And everyone out there, thank you for joining our Patreon family. Patreon is where you guys can come in, join the different tiers, and monetarily contribute to the show and help us out. And that's what it is. You're helping this show. And you can pick of one of the 4 tiers: Demon, Star Child, Spaceman, Catman. And in each tier, there are different things and perks we give back. So some are just merch, some are video chats, some are polls, some are sneak peeks. We got a ton of stuff. The ARC Madness tournament, you guys are involved in that. And the ARC album Patreon pick, which will be here soon enough. And you guys have your own selection that's made from the Patreon members. And we have our own little message board and fun little community, which is a ton of fun if you're a member. So please come join, support the show, become a Patreon member. And you can find Patreon on our website, shoutitoutloudcast.com. Right on the landing page there's a link there. Click on Patreon and go there and find out all the information you need. And or you can go to patreon.com or the Patreon app, look for creators, Shout It Out Loudcast, and join and help the show. And that's what you're doing. And so, Gino, thank you so much for helping and contributing. And everyone in our Patreon family, thank you.
You guys are the best. Huge shout out to Gino. Thanks for joining the family. Truly appreciate it. And we appreciate everybody who's a Patreon member, whether you're brand new to the family or if you've been a long timer since day one. Huge debt of gratitude to you guys. Thank you so much for your continued contribution. As Zeus said, there's tons of things that we love to give back, tons of perks, polls, input into the show, into the content that goes on our social media. So please check us out and join the family.
Tom, what we do next is we go over to KISS World.
Yep.
Let's think. You got Gene, who's really making the biggest splash of all of them, right?
Yep. Gene's band opened up the latest Rock and Brews venue in Ridgefield, Washington on Tuesday. He did a show with his band, Brent Woods, Jason Walker, and drummer Brian Tichy. And he also had special guest Tommy Thayer perform.
That's awesome.
He did a set list, played a lot of songs, and of course, as with KISS, a lot of people were complaining about the set list. Let me run this down quickly here. Deuce, War Machine, Detroit Rock City, Weapons of Mass Destruction, Ace of Spades, Motorhead cover, Communication Breakdown, Zeppelin cover, I Love It Loud, Shout It Out Loud, Love Gun, Calling Dr. Love, Cold Gin, Parasite with Tommy Thayer, Lick It Up with Tommy Thayer, Are You Ready? 100,000 Years, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, I Was Made for Loving You, Rock and Roll All Night. Zeus, what do you think when you see that set list?
Way too many end of the road songs.
It
Now,
pretty much is the end of the road.
I will say this, okay? I know there are people out there that are always like, oh, you guys just bitch. Look, we're getting some live performances. Just enjoy that. I get it. Yeah, I do. Now, I will say this. Weapons of Mass Destruction, Ace of Spades, Communication Breakdown, that's 3. Are You Ready? That's 4. 4? Well, that's it. And actually, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, but and actually Parasite, but they made some of those songs made their appearance on the end of the road too.
Yep.
So I said to Tom when Tommy, me and you were talking about this off the air, I said, my thinking is it's their first show. Gene does, new members, a whole new band, with the exception of Brett Woods, who played with them in the Vegas show. It's all new people. Let them get used to some of the songs. Let them get comfortable. Now, it's not, and this is the thing, it's not Jeremy and Ryan who know Gene well and can push him. Hey, let's do fucking She's So European. Like, I don't know if they have that relationship with him to be doing that yet.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a little bit different. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons I think people were a little bit, it was a combination of, yeah, it's the end of the road set list. And I don't know if they were doing what we were doing, which is comparing to what we got when we saw him at the Gene Simmons event at the Rio in Vegas, because that set list was Plaster Caster, Charisma, Domino, Nothing to Lose, Going Blind, Watching You, Deuce, Radioactive, I Was Made for Loving You, Christine 16, Unholy, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll. That's what you want to hear when you see a Gene Simmons solo band. You want to hear that. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a new band. Gene hasn't really performed live in a couple of months. Those songs are fresh in his head from being them beaten into his brain for the end of the road tour for 4 years. So I get it, but you're right. I don't think it's unfair to criticize if this set list continues. I don't. And the people that say, oh, just be happy, just be happy. Look, we're KISS fans. We're never happy.
Yeah.
Get a grip. We're never happy.
And what's the event? The event is opening up a Rock and Brews. It's not everybody just
Correct.
spent $150 and ran to go in here. And it's a big stadium. They've been advertising for.
Stick to the hits. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, how can you complain? Really?
But I think everybody should be jacked because Gene looked good. He sounded good. He seemed energetic and he was moving around. He was fired up with Tommy, which I love seeing Tommy still involved. So I think, forget about the set list. I think it's something exciting to see that Gene looked that good.
Let's see. What if he goes on tour and he starts off with this and then he starts adding songs, subtracting songs?
Yeah.
Then how can you complain? You don't know what you're going to get. So that's what I'd like to see. I'm not giving him a hard time for this. Let's see what happens. The fact is, though, he did put in some weird shit in this.
Not to mention he played 18 fucking songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
We'll see.
Yep.
I don't know. Paul is fucking got an art thing coming up, I'm sure. Ace is still, I think, I'm not sure if he's still on tour right now. I think he's taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah, it's getting tiring here, but I need a break. Open up that shed.
My bunions are killing me. Gotta get off these feet. I'm just a little out of shape. Getting a little pudgy.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Ace is on a break. The next time he plays is May 26th.
Where?
At Mohegan Sun in Connecticut.
Not too far from us.
Hey, guys, let's play some cards. Remember I had a song years back, 5-card stud, Ace in the hole.
All right. What do you got? Flip your cards. My money on black. What? This is roulette? Oh, fuck. I don't remember quite how to play this game.
I got 20. Hit me. Sir, you have 20. It's okay. Feel lucky. I'm hoping I get a 1. We don't have
an ace of spades.
We don't have 1s in the deck, sir. They're called aces, like your name. Oh, jeez.
Kidding. I don't know what Peter's doing. Nothing in the news about him.
No.
Bruce has got a tour going up. I think he's doing Finland for a couple shows. God bless him.
Yeah, and he posted something on his social media that we shared. He's got some really cool T-shirts if you're into that.
Yes. Go support him. He's got some shirts out.
Very cool stuff. The theme-oriented, hot in the shade, crazy nights, that kind of stuff. Very cool stuff. It's Bruce, so of course it's going to be
Tommy
great.
Jumped in with Gene. He was doing something with his wine recently. He was doing
fucking backflips.
We want you to do some juggling, throw up some fire bombs, do some backflips. You go on the ledge, you fall down. We all have a laugh, Sparky, It's only 3 floors up. You won't get hurt too bad.
I'm sorry, but that's how it sounded when you were describing what Tommy was doing. Like, Tommy's up on stage. He's having a good time.
We're going to have a couple guys, a couple broads around laying on. We're going to do our own thing. We want you to do some juggling. He wants to hire a kid's clown. There's like an orgy going on in the middle of the scene.
Why would you want to hire an adult juggler at your event?
I do balloon handles for children.
You do, huh?
You don't do any, juggle firebombs. No, I don't.
Oh, jeez.
Sparky the clown. Anyways.
Yeah, let me speak to Sparky.
Speaking.
Sparky the clown. How you doing, fruitcake?
Not too bad. Who's this?
I say this all the time. Poor Robert Conte.
Wondering what we're talking about. The Jerky Boys, Robert, the Jerky Boys. Anyway,
God.
Tom, let's take a quick little break, huh? What do you say? All right, let's take a little break. I used to juggle fire bombs. One blew off in my hand, and I almost had to miss the show in Fort Lauderdale in 1976.
All right, we're back. I had to correct Ace once again. It seems like every time we have a break, I have to correct him. Ace, you were not juggling fireballs in Florida in 1976. You got electrocuted, okay? It's a little bit different. I knew there was something going on. Oh, God.
Anyway, Tom, it's funny. I'm going to read this, and I mentioned this to Robert earlier.
Yeah.
On the episode where we talked to him. And it's just funny because it's just a small world and a coincidence. Sam Paxton always sends us emails for many, many years. And he sent us an email. And he said, hey, guys, love the simplicity of the episode today with the Pop House News. I have a suggestion for you for an interview to pursue. He sent this email Saturday, April 20th at 5:45 p.m. Go get Robert V. Conte. Now that the represses and box sets are likely, this is an absolutely perfect time to talk to him. On the show, you guys really talked about why do they stop making the remasters before Smashes, Thrashes, Hot in the Shade, and other stuff like that. Well, that guy has all the answers you guys have been seeking. Now, before I read the rest of his email, and I'm not going to read the rest of his email, but you guys get the point.
Yep.
We were already in contact with Robert for quite some time to come on, and we found a time that worked for both of us. So yes, I'm glad there was somebody out there that saw the logical jump from the KISS reset to Robert Conte. We knew what we were doing.
Yep.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And we were glad to get him. So without further ado, Robert V. Conte.
This week, our guest is an editor, writer, and pop culture consultant. And he is also the KISS catalog consultant for over 20 albums. Okay? And you know him, and we know him from the man behind the notes for those amazing CD remasters that came out in the 90s. We're going to talk about that and so much more. We're thrilled tonight to have a super KISS fan. Robert V. Conte is in the house. Robert, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate being invited on.
Awesome.
So here
awesome.
I am. Here we go.
Let's go.
Right.
Awesome.
All right.
Excellent.
So I remember, like Tom, I'm a CD guy. I'm still buying CDs, if you can see behind me.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I need the physical product. And I tell this all the time to our listeners, after going to vinyls, to cassettes, to CDs, I'm like, I'm not going back. So I was buying those CDs. And like some, as you know, wear and tear, some sounded better than others. So when the KISS remasters came out, I can't tell you. I don't know if I bought them all as soon as they came out, one day after day, whenever they got released, but I jumped on it. And then there was these notes, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Robert Conte. But I enjoyed reading it. I loved hearing about all the comments and seeing everything there. And I was just like Tom, just, who the hell is this guy? And there was I wasn't on the internet at the time.
There was no way to know.
So it was just a fun thing. And then over time, we got to know who you are in the KISS world, and we're fascinated. So let's just take a quick step back and find out how you became the man for KISS to put in all the comments for the remastered version of their CDs. How did you get introduced to KISS? And then how did you really get introduced to KISS?
Well, KISS has been, the more I think about it, I think you guys know I'm working on my memoir about my days, as a KISS fan, and also working with the band and also working with Mercury, Polygram, Def Jam. Mm-hmm. And it's really funny. You think that you remember everything crystal clear, and then you open up a box of stuff and you look through it and you say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that took place before this? Oh, wait. And it's a sign of getting older,
We're all there.
But, basically in a nutshell, KISS has been in my consciousness probably since the third grade. And I'm talking 1977. Okay. And the reason, why, I remember me personally, I got as a Kris Kringle. I don't know if you guys remember what Kris Kringles were. And, around the holiday season at schools back in the 70s, a lot of schools did this, a lot didn't. But, you would pick a classmate's name out of a Santa hat. And you were responsible for giving that particular child a gift the day before Christmas Eve, if I remember it correctly. Okay. And a fellow classmate gave me the KISS model Chevy van kit.
Oh, no, that's the...
Yeah, right.
That kid he should still be your best friend today.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been looking for him. He's not on social media, which is crazy. So either he wants to be hidden or he's dead. I don't know what it is. Maybe one day I'll find him. So KISS was in my consciousness from that. It was also from the Marvel comics, the two Marvel comics that came out, because I was already an avid comic collector by the time I was 8 years old. And then the KISS Dunruss trading cards. KISS was everywhere. You go to the store, the Halloween KISS costumes. For that time period, there were two other iconic properties that were able to penetrate basically everything at that time.
Yep.
One was Star Wars, right? Star Wars was everywhere.
Hell yeah.
Everywhere.
But believe it or not, the year before that was the 1976 King Kong. If you remember, if you're 54, I'm going to be 54. If you were 50, 52, 53, 54.
I remember Jessica Lange.
There you go. I was going to say, me too.
I remember her in that movie.
Absolutely. But the thing was, the merchandising campaign for that 1976 King Kong was out of this world. I mean, basically almost every merchandise category at that time, everything from King Kong Reese's peanut butter cups to the glasses, the painted glasses,
Really?
the posters, T-shirts. Oh yeah, as a matter of
I
fact,
didn't remember it.
Oh yeah, no, that stuff hit big. So most people remember the Star Wars Blitz, but King Kong preceded it by a year. So KISS was in that same kind of mold, And I'll never forget, there was a girl in third grade who, for whatever reason, brought KISS Love Gun to school. And she got in trouble because she got in trouble, and she got sent to the principal's office. And I was in touch with my first school's principal until she passed away last year. And one time I was reminiscing with her, and I said, "Oh, do you remember when so and so brought in the KISS album? You got so upset." She goes, "Yes, because do you know what a love gun is? It's a penis." Why is an 8-year-old girl bringing an album that's titled Penis?
Oh, wow.
Jesus Christ. That's awesome.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's great.
And I'm still friends with a couple of those kids in that class, and they definitely remember that particular day. And so anyway, point being is that ever since childhood, Batman, Godzilla, King Kong, and KISS were in my consciousness in one form or another,
Yep.
And then, preteen years happened, and I got into, early MTV, the whole, the top 40 that was constantly rotating on the channel. Somehow I would always miss the I Love It Loud video, which I just could not understand. I literally would catch it as the ending with the glowing eyes. I would never. It
was hard to. Yeah, it was. You never got to see the kid sitting down with his parents having dinner. You never got to see that. No.
And the thing was, it was funny because it motivated me to want to buy a VCR. So, my father, for my 13th birthday, Dad, I need a VCR. And he was kind enough to get it for me.
Yep.
But then I would tape MTV all night, and they would never show that one again, which was so weird. Yep. But anyway, flash forward to September of '83 when KISS took the makeup off live on MTV. Or we thought it was live at the time. We later learned it was pre-recorded. But, watching that live compilation of Rock and Roll All Night that they did really kind of opened up the floodgates for me as far as being interested in their music. So it's funny. In a way, it was the KISS merchandise that got me, in a way into KISS, but it was actually that night where all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, this sounds great. This is great. I want to know more about this band, so on and so forth. And a couple of months later, my father had split. And, I was close to my dad, so I was very down about that. And my grades started to suffer. And my grandmother, bless her soul, she said to me, listen, I don't want you to fall behind your schooling and stuff. You're going through a tragic thing. You're going to get through it. So she goes, I'll make you a deal. I go, what's that? She goes, if you keep up your grades, work hard and stay in school, focus on that, I'll buy you a KISS album every week. And,
whoa. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, done.
Right.
Because up to that point, I had only borrowed friends' records, so I couldn't afford, I was living on $4 a week allowance. You couldn't do much back then. $4 a week. You can't do anything with it now. But back then, $4 was like, you were lucky to buy one Sound Savers cassette if you were lucky,
Yeah.
So anyway, my grandmother every week, and the coolest thing about this, it was a surprise every week. I didn't know which one because I didn't know the discography at the time.
Right, right.
So yeah. So every week was something different. So the first one was KISS Dynasty.
Nice.
And it was just so cool to open up that shrink wrap, pull out that order form, get that poster, hung that poster on my wall with all the thumbtacks and everything. The album itself was just amazing, astounding. Fell in love with it immediately. The following week, I got Lick It Up. Lick It Up was my second album. But then the third week was the first KISS album. And
oh, wow.
And I'm telling you, I stared at that album for hours because I love that photo. That first year or two of KISS, Oh, like that to me is quintessential Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, just that Kiss through Alive era. I that's my personal favorite.
You like the silver and black, not when they got bright colors and everything, huh? You like the darker Kiss.
I like the dark, mean, skinny,
scary, skinny. Yeah, skinny Gene was menacing.
Tom
Gene.
loves skinny Gene.
Oh yeah. Listen, you look at those early photographs, like those early photo sessions. That stuff's incredible, and it was so funny because even at the age of 13, I'm comparing the Dynasty album cover to the first album cover, and I'm like, man, they look so different. And I'm trying to figure out how, and that in itself, was very intriguing, and the different styles of music. Now, just those three albums, you like Dynasty, Lick It Up, which was so heavy and fast to me. I said, man, that's a masterpiece. And then the first Kiss album, which has all those great hits that we all love, but it was a different kind of sound for that, for those songs that I wasn't used to listening to it on Alive. So getting a Kiss album almost every week was quite an adventure. It was like learning all about the different members that sang, trying to figure out who sang what parts, and just learning as we went along. Hard in Hell was album 4, and that album to me, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like the sound of it. It's very tinny. It's one of my favoriets. It really is.
Album.
It's one of my favorites.
Album.
And,
the songs are great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the songs are great. It went from there. So my buying, when I got to a point where I could actually, afford my own stuff, what drove me buying different Kiss records was which ones were on sale that week.
Yeah, right.
Because a lot of people from the early 80s may remember this. When Lick It Up came out, and the Lick It Up video, and they were really, they started touring without the makeup, all the deep discount stores were unloading Kiss merchandise so cheap.
That's right.
I mean, I grew up in Massapequa, Long Island, and there was a closeout store there called Odd Lot. And my friend Pete and I went in there one day, stacks of Kiss dolls, 99 cents a piece.
Oh, no way.
Could you imagine that? 99 cents a piece. And again, $4 a week, Robert. Hey, I could buy one set. I'm happy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Right.
That's awesome.
And everything wound up being really cheap. The Kiss posters that were in closeout were only like 99 cents. And I'm talking about Spirit of 76, the motorcycle, the motorcycle shots, all that great stuff. And the Kiss costumes, $1.99.
Oh,
if you were a Kiss fan in 83, 84, and you wanted to learn more about old Kiss, original Kiss, that was the perfect time. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect time. Time. So, as time went on, again, my collection was primarily either what my grandmother got me or records I bought used at the various shops in my neighborhood. And I started to notice, hey, this Alive that I bought used, why is it a blue label with silver lettering when, the one my friend Brian lent me is tan with Record and Film Works, And I started, every time I'd see a difference, whether it was small or big, I would buy it. And, at some point I had like 13 copies of Alive.
Oh, wow.
And my mother truly thought that there was something mentally wrong with me.
Well, that's common now. Everybody's doing that now with vinyl.
Oh yeah. But every time I would, every time I'd see a difference in the way it was printed or the way the label looked, or sometimes the album covers were printed on really crappy thin cardboard stock, and then other times they'd be printed on this very thick white varnish or matte. And I'm saying to myself, it's amazing how all these things are happening. No reason why. I couldn't figure that out yet. But every time I would see a different record, and if it was different one way or another, I'd pick it up. And before long, like I said, I had like 13 copies of Alive and multiple copies of other records. And, my family just couldn't understand, my thinking behind this. But I looked at it as being a comic collector. I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's like comics. It's like baseball cards. It's like, so around the time Polygram started reissuing these records at full price, I was in my neighborhood was a weird paradigm. You could go to the mall, you could go to Sunrise Mall. Woolworth would have all the original pressings on sale. They were cutouts, but they were on sale. You could get the solo albums for $1.99 with the posters and everything. But yet, if you went to Sam Goody in the same mall, the reissues with the barcodes and everything would be full price without any of the tchotchkes. It was so crazy.
Yep.
But Mr. Obsessed Completist Collector had to have everything,
Oh yeah.
So, so I built this up, and as time went on, I would write down. Originally, I used my Coleco Atom computer to write this report.
Oh God!
Remember
Coleco? Oh man!
Yeah. Coleco. Yep.
Yeah, I had a Coleco Vision that had an expandable Atom computer kit. Got that, and started writing notes about what was different in all these pressings and everything. And the time came. Years later. I was very fortunate to have been invited to see KISS at the Ritz when they did the Revenge pre-show, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah.
And as circumstance would have it, I wound up standing right next to Gene's mother, Florence, and we had we were talking, had a good rapport. She wound up introducing me to Gene and Paul, and it was the first time I was with. I got to shake Gene's hand and Paul's hand, and. I'm sorry, backwards a little bit. I had written a comic book called Rock and Roll Comics #9.
Yeah, get to that one.
And when the publisher published it, we weren't thinking we were going to get these great numbers, and it wound up going into like 4th or 5th printing. It was crazy.
I have one.
Cool. Yeah. And I gave a copy to Gene. I say, "Hey, look what I did." He looks at Paul. He snickers. He goes, "What an original idea!" Kind of making fun of me because they had already done the 2 Marvel comics.
Yep.
But first time I met him, and I had offered to give them my report that night, and I kind of got the brush off. But then they wound up doing a signing not too much later at Tower Records in Carl Place to promote Alive 3. And someone I'd already been in touch with at Mercury, who was very aware of who I was because I was constantly mailing them letters. Hey, you made a mistake on Smashes, Thrashers, and Hits. You made a mistake on this. You made a mistake on that. When are you going to fix it? So they were kind of like, "Oh, here's the pain in the ass, KISS fan. Let's let's hook him up for Live 3." So I got to meet Larry Mazer, and I had said to him, "Listen, I have this envelope for Gene and Paul." And at first he took it, and I thought he was going to throw it on a pile or something. But I said, no, it's very, very important. And I said, I also have a message for Paul. And he goes, "What's that?" And I go, "Well, one of his old bandmates, a fellow by the name of Neil Tiemann, is a classmate of mine in my, I'm taking writing classes at night. He's in my class, and he wanted to convey his, success, congratulations to Paul." And Paul stopped immediately. He goes, "You know Neil Tiemann?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, come over here." And he goes, "What do you got?" And I pulled out the report, and I said, "Listen, your catalog is being, basically just destroyed by Polygram." And Gene and Paul are going through the pages real quickly, and they said, "Are you kidding?" I said, "No." I said, "We can, you can grab some stuff here at Tower right now, see it for yourself." And I had bought a Paul Stanley solo album that didn't have the poster in it, that had the barcode on it. And I said, "Look," and I pulled it out, and there was no, Paul's face was on the original record label. That was gone. No poster, no order form, really crappy presentation. They went from the very thick whiteboard to the crappy cardboard press board. And I said, "Listen, this is one of many." And I said, the cassettes are even worse. But I said, the final straw for me was when they put the Live Nothing to Lose on the first KISS record. I said, that's not a mistake. That's just pure, neglect and stupidity. It's like, how do you splice in a live version of Nothing to Lose from Alive onto an EQ, an LP EQ of the first KISS album, have that run, have that manufactured and out there in the marketplace? It was just totally bewildering. Wow. And it was so obvious to me that somebody who was in charge of the backlist at Polygram just did not give a bleep. Okay.
Right.
And, So fortunately, Gene asked me for my phone number directly. And then we kept in touch, and he would ask me things, call me up about certain things he had in his collection. Sometimes he would ask me to go find him certain records and things, and, slowly built a nice rapport together. And then one day I got a phone call from a fellow you guys may know named Tommy Thayer. Mm-hmm. And he said, listen, we're doing these Unplugged conventions, and you're living on the West Coast right now. Would you mind helping me put together a few of the shows? So I said, yeah, I can assist you. So at the LA show was the first time that the remasters were announced, and Gene had mentioned my name without telling me in front of that whole Unplugged audience.
Oh, wow.
So can you imagine, we have this guy who's going to, fix the catalog, Robert Conte. And I'm like, oh, my God, I wasn't prepared for that.
Right.
But still one of the best days of my life,
Yeah.
And next thing I know, they decided to put the makeup back on. The original group got back together. Hey, we need you to move back to New York. Hey, okay. How long do I have? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But I did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Packed up and moved my entire, living stuff, moved back to New York. And, within a week and a half after that, I was working at Polygram.
Unbelievable. So did you have a template in mind? Did the band at Polygram? So when you put the notes, because that's one of the great things about those remasters is it has all the original packaging, but then when you open up the jewel case, behind the CD is Robert V. Conte's notes. Did you have a template from the band or from anybody on how you wanted to handle it, or did you just say, I'm a fan, I'm going to write about each particular album?
Well, I'm so happy you asked that question, because when I originally pitched the remasters, they were going to be digipacks. If you know what I
don't like those. I don't like those.
Okay. Then I'm not telling you anymore. No, I'm kidding.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I'm just joking.
Go ahead.
So anyway, we had the original idea was to put Alive and Alive 2 together as a mega box set.
Okay.
And then they decided, you know what? We're going to do the whole remasters, 3 a month until, they're all out. So the original idea was to do digipacks, where there was going to be a tray. You'd pull out the tray. There'd be a expanded booklet with up to 16 pages of, photos and notes and everything.
Okay, that would have been cool.
Quotes from people. Yeah, quotes from people that worked with the band at the time or were involved. But when we put the initial budget together, the big bean counters said, oh, no. This is backlist. You're treating this as if it's a new release. I'm like, well, it's not the first time. There's other bands that are doing this too, and it's working out great. The AC/DC remasters look terrific, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you have to pick your battles sometimes. So they became, they were going to be re-released, but they're going to be released in a, affordable format. So what happened was, I said, they told me, all right, you got 1 page to write your liner notes for each album. At the time, I had no idea they were going to put it in the back tray, but I'm saying to myself, okay, what's the best method how to write this? There are other KISS writers out there who are very intricate in their style, and, I give them credit and I love reading their work. But I said, you know what? I have XX amount of words in a very small space. What am I going to do with this? And I said, you know what? I have to write these essays as if you're picking up a KISS record for the first time.
Right.
No matter what it is. Okay.
Yep.
And let me tell you something that worked out in the long haul, because to this day, kids that weren't born when those came out reach me today and say, man, I learned all about KISS through you, through those essays and everything. And
it's true. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm so touched by that, because
you should be. Yeah.
It's like people that were not born, that still buy physical media. Will read this stuff and then try to find me on LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever. And I'm just so touched by this stuff. And I'm saying, wow, when those remasters came out, for the most part, it was a positive feedback. But I had some diehard KISS fans. They were so angry at me. Why didn't you get into this? Why didn't you get into that? I only had a few hundred words. Yeah, I only had a few hundred words, guys. It's not like I could get into the whole, anyway. But yeah, I will never forget this as long as I live. I had a friend who passed away last year. Her name was Jeanette Monroe, and she was a manager at Virgin Megastore in Times Square. And the night, as the KISS remasters would come out, that Monday night, because I think they were 24 hours. They were open till like 2 a.m. back then. She'd be like, come on down, see your stuff. And I'd come down, and every month, she'd have I told her to put a few away for me, and she'd always was so sweet with that. And I got to see that stuff right away. And it was the CDs and the cassettes. The cassettes turned out great too. Yep. And I'm very blessed to have been given that opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, was there a conscious effort, to stop where they did? Because the big thing for me is, and Tom and I both hot in the shade. I'm not a musician, but I mentioned this on the show. The only reason I know is when we do episodes and we'll do top 10 this, and then I'll put in the song. So I'll take the song and I'll put it into the Audacity software, and I'll see the wavelength from all the other ones, which I've downloaded to my computer, are your remastered CDs that I've downloaded.
Wow.
And then there's Hot in the Shade songs, which are like teeny.
Oh, yes. And the irony with that is the cassette sounds louder than the CD.
Yes. Yeah. Because I had that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why didn't they go further? Why did they stop?
The original plan, we were doing them in lots of 3 or 4, if I remember correctly. And the last one that we did was Crazy Night that came out. But sales at that point were just plummeting. No one was interested in non-makeup KISS at that point. Those newer albums weren't, they weren't particularly drivers to, let me go out and rebuy these things that are, not even 10 years old yet, that kind of thing. Now, just so you know, we did have planned to go all the way up to Revenge. An extended Revenge with extended notes and everything. Hot in the Shade was the one I wanted to remaster the most because I don't know if you guys remember the Power Mix CD that came out before the album for Rise to It.
Nope.
There was a Power Mix promo, Rise to It, Dave Thorner mix, and it came out and at the time. There was a record store downtown Manhattan called J&R Music World, and someone I knew there would always put KISS stuff aside for me. So she gave me this. She goes, "Oh, hey, here's the taste of the new record." This is back in '89 or '88. Yeah. And the Power Mix for Rise to It is incredible. Somebody has it on YouTube if you guys want to listen to it. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was going to be the general sound of the entire record. And you got to remember something also. Hot in the Shade was the first KISS album to almost hit a full hour of music of time.
Yeah, I know.
15 songs. Yeah.
Because most KISS albums were only half hour, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, with the exception of the double albums. So there was a lot of anticipation in that way. But I have to say, when I put the CD in the night I bought it, I was crushed. I said, "How does this hard rock power sounding song on the promo CD sound so muted and mushed up?" It just never made sense to me.
Yeah.
But yet the cassette sounds louder.
Yeah.
The LP sounds louder, and but CD was the thing everybody was pushing at the time. So I'm like, that to me was an epic fail. And believe me, KISS management heard about it.
Now, good.
It's funny because I'll tell you, because after all these years, I'm so glad we're talking to you, and I'm so glad that Zeus asked that specific question. Because after all these years, I'm like, why did they stop? Was it a record and it's so funny because back then you're not thinking about the financial aspect of it. You're just thinking, oh, something must have happened to make them stop. And to find out that after all these years, the only reason they stopped was because they weren't selling. It's kind of a bummer. I wish there was a bigger story behind it. KISS has an interesting, it's really funny. The KISS concerts are obviously, they sell out. They do very well. There's, people, you could travel all over the country and see friends from, across the country. KISS album sales are a different animal. It's so funny how they sell very well the first 1 or 2 weeks, and then after that they kind of just fall. Yeah, 'cause all the Kiss fans come out and buy it, and then they're gone, and then no one else buys it.
Right. And the thing was, at the record company at the time, there were people there that just hated Kiss. They hated them.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, you know, oh, why are we doing this for them? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And it was like, I always had this feeling it was always an uphill battle. You know, like for instance, when You Wanted the Best came out, you know, everybody in the office expecting, oh, at least platinum, hopefully double platinum. Okay, well, it went gold. First Kiss album that went gold in a while. That's not good enough.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a constant having to constantly prove that Kiss was so important. And one day somebody in the record company just said, you know what? I don't care if they sell out millions of tickets. If they're not selling that in records, why are we investing in this? To me, I always felt Kiss got raw end of the stick. Have a label that really, really loves you, cares about you, wants you to succeed, not one that feels like they're doing you a favor. It was it was very frustrating at times.
Yeah, no, the whole came up with the You Wanted the Best. What was your theory on that album? Because it's kind of a polarizing live album for a lot of Kiss fans, because it's almost like a greatest hits live edition of Kiss.
Yeah.
And some of the songs, like, wait a minute, was this really never heard before? Or is this off of a live too? Wait a minute. Didn't we hear this off of this? Tell us a little bit about what you think, the whole, I don't know, reputation of that specific album.
Well, here's the thing. There's so much to talk about it, but let me try to put it in a nutshell best I can. You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best was originally envisioned to be kind of like a bootleg, kind of like what they do now with the live off the soundboards.
With the off the soundboards,
Yeah, it only took them 25 years, but it's okay. Anyway. So the original envision of You Wanted the Best, it was supposed to be for the fans, the real diehards that just wanted something to kind of commemorate being a loyal and supportive Kiss fan all those years, right? Now, if you were collecting vinyl at the time, the mid-'90s or so, Mercury, Polygram were not putting out the newer releases on vinyl anymore. They were licensing those records to a company called H&H. I don't know if you remember them. They did.
No.
Okay. So H&H Global Distribution was a company that, basically licensed rights to take classic Kiss records and put them out on vinyl. Okay. So they did, I think, 2 or 3 versions of Alive 3 that were numbered. They did a version of Revenge. They did 2 or 3 versions of Revenge, like gray vinyl and that kind of thing. They were all numbered. And Creatures of the Night, they did a glow in the dark disc, if I remember correctly, in the standard. Like I said, it all gets blurry after a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they were going to be the licensee for this album originally. It was supposed to be a Kiss Army Depot. Hey, diehard Kiss fans, you've been loyal all these years. Here's a special album just for you. And it was supposed to be, deep cuts, 2-timer, Ladies in Waiting, all the stuff that I, found in the vaults from various audio shows that were recorded. And it was supposed to be a big thank you to them. When Tiger Stadium sold out in 45 minutes, all of a sudden, there were 20 chefs in the kitchen at the company. 20 different chefs that have their own version of Vichy Soir. Well, Vichy Soir, if it's not made properly, doesn't taste very good, right? So when you've got 20 different people, and those who don't know what Vichy Soir is, it's cold potato soup. Anyway, so if so all of a sudden you have all these people saying, "Hey, they sold out. They sold out. That's great. Oh, wait a minute. This little limited edition record this guy wants to do. Oh no, we got to think bigger. We got to put out a best of Alive 1 and Alive 2." And I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to work. What was worse was they took all the raw recordings that we found, and there's no secret that the 4 tracks that they picked of all those songs were, remixed at the very least, room service. The room service you hear on that album is not the room service that I found and submitted. So,
I don't think there's I'll be completely honest with you, and you don't have to respond. I don't think there's very many people, including Zeus and I, that think that those are
from 1975.
Yeah, those are not 1975 live recordings. You can just tell, if you're a KISS fan, you can hear Paul's voice. Those are not 40, 30-year-old recordings.
Let me put it to you this way. So I came up with a bunch of cover concepts, and the one that they built upon, I had taken some of the Dunruss trading card art, and I, used that as an idea for the front cover. And then, a guy named Lou Ransom, I think his name was, he embellished that and made a, terrific looking cover. At the time, I've grown to appreciate it, because when it was first, displayed in the office, I'm like, KISS is about warmth, hot, heavy, metal, not this purple soft color. What are you doing? But anyway, I've grown to appreciate it anyway. But again, it's all about, you're entitled to your own opinion, but everything's a team effort. But when they gave me the advanced cassette and I went home and I listened to it, I'm like, I can't believe how it was such a night and day difference between what I had pitched, which was around the time there was a CD set called the Beatles Anthology. If you guys remember, Beatles Anthology.
I remember it.
Mm-hmm. And if you remember, in between each of the songs, they would take audio snippets of, Lennon and McCartney, and they would talk about, either just general stuff or why they wrote the song the way they did. And, that's the way you want the best was originally envisioned. And to see what it originally was supposed to be to what it ultimately became, I personally feel the KISS fans got gypped because you didn't get to hear what we found. And to this day, it blows my mind that they still haven't put that stuff out. Mm-hmm. That tape that we made is out there somewhere in the vault. Why, when the album hit 25 years old in 2021, why didn't they put out, hey, here's the original version with the anniversary edition? I have no idea how they think.
How are they going to put that though, Robert? What are they going to say? Here's the bullshit version. We told you it's from 1975. Here's the real version from 1975. Right. We had been lying to you for the last 20 years, but here's this. I can't see how they would do it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the other thing was and one of the most painful things to me about that whole process was the vinyl version of that record was supposed to come with a fold-out poster. Mm-hmm. And we went through every slide that Polygram had in its vaults, and we picked 4 images that to this day remain unpublished. And we created a beautiful poster.
Wow.
And the fact that poster is still not in print, still not in with the fans, it just, I scratch my head sometimes. I said,
you're going to get bombarded by a million KISS fans now. Hey, can I get a copy of that poster? Do you have a right?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I keep my word. I'm a person. I keep my word. I made a promise.
Yep.
I am one of 3 people on the entire planet that still have the original DAT tape of what that record was supposed to sound like and the designs and everything. And to this day, I have kept my word. It is not in the bootleg circuit. It will never come from the bootleg circuit for me. Yep. And I'm surprised Universal hasn't jumped on the opportunity to put that out, because I'm going to be quite frank.
Yeah.
That album, the way it was, the way it was put together, there are bits on that people still haven't heard to this day. And on top of it, it's a beautiful package. Wow. So when this live soundboard stuff's been coming out, I'm saying to myself, okay, some of it's really good. And there was a couple choices. I'm like, what the bleep are they thinking?
Oh, yeah.
But again, each and every KISS fan has their own opinion of what's great and what's not so great. And, you hope that whatever the average is the majority view. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keep your, hire some extra security now, and make sure that Tommy doesn't know where you are, and keep that stuff locked away. Because
fortunately,
bombarded.
Yeah, fortunately, it's not anywhere near where I live. It's
you hear
nice,
that? You hear that, Kiss fans? You hear that?
Stay away from Robert.
Leave him alone.
It's in a nice metal box in a very long time galaxy far away.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Robert, it's in the Kiss the Gene Simmons vault. Some lucky fans got it.
Robert, what's your relationship? Where does your relationship stand now with the band, or the relationship that you had with Polygram, or with all that? How did that transition? Like, are you still involved with them in any way, shape, or form? And if so, how is that today?
No. Listen, I did my job. I did my job, and it was over. You can only remaster things once every few years, right? So basically, after that stuff was over. I did get some freelance KISS projects to do. Some I was credited for, some I wasn't. But I got to contribute bits and pieces along the way.
Yep.
And after that, I moved on to other things. Just comes a time. Listen, would I love to have worked for the KISS company forever? Of course, but you don't get that opportunity much.
Right.
I was, to be frank, I was disappointed with the 2014 vinyl re-releases for a multitude.
I was just going to ask you about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there was just things that should have been done that weren't.
Yep.
Credits that should have. The thing that upsets me the most is that Bill Aucoin's name being removed from all the early records. It's like, what? I totally get why, McGee Entertainment belongs on the newer editions, but you do what you do, like with the Rolling Stones remasters or the Bob Marley remasters. You put who are the original credits, the original people that were involved.
Yep. And
then you put the newer staff or the newer contributors.
Right.
What's so hard with that?
Yep.
It's like, it's sad because, whether it was done maliciously or with intent or by accident or whatever, the bottom line is we now have a generation of KISS fans who don't know who the hell Bill Aucoin is. And that to me is a crime.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree.
And, it's sad because, the younger KISS fans, if they bought Rock and Roll Over on vinyl, the 2014 release or later on, I don't think Bill Aucoin's name is mentioned at all.
Yeah, that's a tragedy. That's wrong.
Yeah. And, look, one thing I had to learn the hard way, there were mistakes in the remasters that infuriated me. But being at Polygram taught me why that stuff happens. It's not because that necessarily there's a person who's trying to say, "Ooh, I'm going to ruin the KISS catalog." No.
Right.
You have people that don't look at KISS anything else than financial commodity for them. There are people that are involved that don't want to spend the extra 3 cents a unit to do certain things, right?
Yep.
So, unfortunately, when you have so many people on a team trying to get things done, and, I was a consultant, I wasn't the final say-so.
Right.
So all I could do is say, hey, I think you should do it this way. And, a good number of times they went with my advice and sometimes they didn't. And, am I proud of the remasters? Hell yeah. Are they far superior than the editions before them? Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. If you want to listen to the original Hard in Hell on CD, good luck.
Yeah.
True. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Hey, so we want to kind of get to know you a little bit better. So let's get to some fun questions we ask most our guests. Do you have a favorite KISS member?
Oh gosh, it's varied all over the years. I'm going to say because Gene had faith in me and gave me a chance, I'm going to say Gene.
But I like hearing the story that Gene walked up to you and was like, "Aren't you the one with like the bootleg KISS comment?" Yeah. So can you tell us that story real quick?
Well, when I gave it to him at the Ritz, he looked at Paul and said, "What an original idea." And then he went on to say, this is a bootleg, and if it's worth us coming after you. I said, "Well, I'm not the publisher; I'm just the writer."
I can picture Gene. This isn't authorized.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what he said.
You didn't ask for permission.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just permission from the NFL Network.
I said, I'm
Like
just
that.
expressing, right. I remember telling them, I said, I'm just expressing my love for the band. Please. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, how about a favorite Kiss song?
Oh my gosh. There's 260
Come on,
songs
this
to
is the
pick from.
easiest thing, right? Come
All right, I'm
on.
going to tell you something. And this is the God's honest truth. Ever since I got a copy of Kiss Alive, I have listened to Deuce at least once a day for over 40 years.
Love it.
Different versions of Deuce, but I listen to Deuce every morning. It's my wake up.
Love it.
Yeah, it's my
Really?
Oh yeah.
I love it.
So you're the reason why Deuce is on every freaking 500 compilations out there, right? That, Rock and Roll All Night, Strutter.
Well, that, and it's one of the greatest songs I've ever made.
Yeah,
That.
I agree.
Yes.
I'm joking with that, but
I know.
We had this conversation. I think was it last week or the week before? We're like, yeah, what is Kiss going to do next? What's their stuff? And we're like, well, there'll be more off the soundboards. And I'm like, just what I need.
Yeah,
My 40th version of Detroit Rock City on my phone. Like,
you know, and
it's not like they did eras like any era of their touring career where you're like, oh yeah, remember this? They did about 20 like deep cuts on this tour. It's the same 15 kind of songs and then 4 or 5 sprinkled in every couple years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I got to tell you, the Des Moines release to me was
Tom.
a great exception. You know,
Oh God, I love that.
Yeah, because
loves
I'm like,
that.
oh wow, this is great. You got,
Yeah.
you know, I Stole Your Love, all that stuff live. That most of it they stopped doing and haven't
Yes.
brought most of it back.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
I mean, in today's popular culture, songs like Christine 16 and Going Blind, I don't think you could be hearing
Yeah.
that.
But I think that's also why it was exciting. And Zeus and I talked about this before. I think that's why fans were so excited about the off the soundboard for the Animalized tour, because that's like an era that we don't hear live. The songs are crazy fast. The songs that you don't hear live.
It's
So I
Mark
thought-
St. John,
Mark St. John,
which is like a rarity in and of itself.
Right.
Only 2 concerts, so we got that. So to me, that's a must-have if you're a Kiss fan.
Right.
Like that, I get. But do I need the same set list with the same guys for the next 5 years? Like, imagine them trying to sell you on 2019 End of the Road CD.
Oh, that's coming.
And then
That's
2020, and then 2021 version, and then a 22, 23. You're like, it's the same songs from the last 4 years.
Get ready, it's coming.
Changed. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I look at the band's history overall, it's hard to digest that the last new album is 12 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm like, really? It's like you wish that. I wished. Yeah, it's like keep the music flowing. That's what's going to keep this band alive. You need new music. It's not. I mean, look, I love the fact the Stones, put out a record. The Who, they keep busy, and they're Kiss.
Yeah, they're still making new music.
Their concert songs. They mix them up.
Yeah.
That's another whole matter. Now I'm going to go to another one, and not a live album and not a compilation. So no double platinum, no live 1 or 2. Favorite Kiss album?
Hotter Than Hell.
Wow. Really?
I think you're one of the first ones that's ever picked that for us, right, Tom?
You got to see. Here's the thing, guys. I
love that album. Don't get me wrong; it's a top 5 album for me.
Yeah,
I was blessed to. You've heard the story about how when we opened up the master tape, the flakes just flew all over the place, right?
Right.
So when we baked that tape and saved it, for one last transfer. I got to hear that album multiple times on the top quality, most high tech equipment available at that time.
Yep.
So I have memories in my head listening to every ounce of that heavy bass and that, it sounds tinny, but I'm also someone who loves Metallica's Saint Anger. Most people want to cut my head off.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that record. To me, I'm like, this is my Metallica, man.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah, Heart and Hell, I have to say, is one of those albums I can listen from beginning to end, not skip off over any songs, and enjoy my day. So yeah,
Nice, perfect.
Now, how many have you seen them in concert live a bunch of times?
over 200.
Oh shit, over 200.
Of all the guests we've had, and we've had a lot, I think that's the most anyone's.
Oh no, it's by far. It's not even close.
Yeah,
well, guys,
most.
Well, remember
Not even-
something.
Yeah.
Remember something. One of the reasons that number is so high is because when I was working with Mercury Polygram, I was on the guest list all the time. So no matter where I flew or where I was, hey, I'm on the guest list. Oh, hey, come on in.
That counts. That counts.
That added up. So for the Alive Worldwide, Psycho Circus, I saw a bunch of those shows.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite tour then? What's your favorite tour you saw?
Oh boy. Okay. So sentimentally, I'm going to tell you, believe it or not, the KISS Asylum show. That was over here on Long Island because my friend Pete got his front row seats.
Oh,
and that was the first tour with that huge illuminated, multicolored KISS.
Yes.
My eyes were burning for like a week.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And when Gene blew fire, we felt it. We felt it we felt it hit our faces. That's how close we were.
Yeah.
And to be that close at a show, especially back then as a teenager, was just like, oh my God, doesn't get better than this. But I would have to say the Alive Worldwide 4 Nights at the Garden, because that was Tiger Stadium. You know what? Tiger Stadium is probably that was a religious experience. We had people from all over the world come in for that. Walking the floor and recognizing so many faces and people that I was pen pals with the decade before from Europe and everything, getting to meet these people for the first time in the flesh. It was that was a night to remember as well. Yeah,
fantastic. Would you say that's your favorite memory of KISS?
The MSG shows,
the Tiger Stadium.
Oh yeah, I would say Tiger Stadium 1, KISS Asylum number 2, and I mean there have been shows I've enjoyed more than others over the years, but those are probably. I'll go with the Tiger Stadium.
Yeah. Robert, before we let you go, I want to ask you something that's not KISS related. Okay.
Sure.
And I'm going to be, I texted Zeus last night. I'm going to indulge myself a little bit because I have you on, so I have to bring this up.
Uh-oh.
So no. So whenever we have a guest on, we always like to research the guest and get a background on what they're involved in and what they've done, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
I came across your website with some of the things that you're making and manufacturing, your pop culture things that are non-KISS. When I was a little kid, one of the things that I absolutely loved was a vinyl book and record set about Dracula, Frankenstein, and the werewolf.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to listen to it all the time. It was a comic book that you followed with the audio of the vinyl. When I went on your website and realized that you remastered this on vinyl and that you are the executive producer of it, I swear to God, my head almost split in half. And I cannot, I had to get it because it is, other than KISS, things like this are so childhood nostalgia for me. And when we were having you on, I said, I have to at least bring this up and just tell him how thrilled I am that you were even involved in this, that other people even know about this. I just thought it was stunning.
Well, listen, we that record has a lot of sentimental value to me because when I was a kid in the 70s, when Halloween season came around, there was probably about 4 or 5 different Halloween records.
Yep.
And that particular Halloween record was my favorite of all time.
Yep.
Even though I had not known who drew it at the time, that artwork is by a person named Neil Adams, who wound up becoming very famous for his work on Batman and Green Lantern and Green Arrow, and he's considered an iconic figure in the comic book community. And I was very blessed to have interviewed him over the years and got to work with him on a few things. And believe it or not, he was the cover artist. Marvel was going to do a KISS number 3. Yep. And if you ever saw the pencil draft cover, Neil drew that. So when he passed away a couple of years ago, going on a couple of years ago, I reached out to his family and I said, "Listen, this record has special childhood meaning for me. Would you allow me to, reissue the comic book?" And I went to Peter Pan Records. I said, "I need permission to put this out." So we all came to a great agreement, and
love it. Amazing.
Yeah, we did a Vampire Blood red vinyl with a 48-page graphic novel. The original only had 16 pages, so there's an additional 32 pages in there. And
Awesome.
It wound up being, it's a heartfelt project, and I'm very blessed that it happened. And thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
That,
it's just one of those things. Like I'm sure other people listening, or whoever had these things from their childhood that are, that aren't Star Wars, that aren't KISS, that were kind of special to them. And then when you become an adult and you find out that somebody else knows about this, to me, it just kind of really like touched like that real nostalgic nerve with me. And I just was thrilled to have you on to just to spend a couple seconds just talking about it. I thought it was very cool.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And actually, that's going to be the first of several. We got several.
Oh,
nice.
We got several classic records in the pipeline.
Cool.
And we'll be making some announcements over the summer. So
awesome.
Thank you so much for your support. And those who are interested can go to studiochikara.com and you'll see what's coming out. And, I'm very excited to be working on things I just loved as a child.
I was just going to say before we let you go, we wanted to make sure that you plug what you're up to, where people can find you, and plug your website and everything that you have working on. Please tell everybody.
Okay. Well, again, what I work on these days is on studiochikara.com. In addition to House of Terror, I also served as a consultant on an all-new children's record called Color Us with Music, which is the artist's name is Brian Washington, and he's just phenomenal. The kids' records from when we were growing up in the late 60s, early to mid 70s, those Disney style, Peter Pan style records.
Yep.
He created an all new album with those records as the main influence, and it just turned out terrific. I was happy to be part of that.
Nice.
But also working on the KISS memoir of my time at the band.
Yep.
I had really wanted to get it out as soon as possible, but every time I opened the box or reviewed things or met with old friends that were working at the record company at the time, the reminiscing is just incredible, and the amount of material is out of this world. Cutting stuff out is going to be the hardest part of that project.
Right.
But I'm blessed for that. And
when it's out, you'll come back and we'll talk about the book, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
And we should start a petition with Universal. Put out the original. You wanted the best.
Hey, we'll do it. We'll get it.
Hey, one last thing I want to bring up to your attention, and it's kind of funny. Okay, so we've had this is our 6th season, 5th year.
Congrats!
We're having you on. We're having you on. I'm just. There's a reason why I'm saying that. Out of nowhere, we already talked. We were talking back and forth, and behind the scenes, we've been talking for a while, and we have you on this week. Okay, April 20th. We get an email from one of our longtime listeners. Hey, guys, I just want to bring this up to you guys. I have a suggestion for you. Go get Robert Conte.
Yep.
Really?
Now that the new repressing the box sets are like a perfect time to have him on the show. This guy's amazing. You've got to get him on.
Wow. Well,
Sam, thank you, but we were already working on it, so it wasn't your push.
The timing was amazing that we got that email and we had you scheduled to come on this week. So
that's terrific. Well, listen, the KISS fans, I got to tell you, every time I hear from KISS fans from all over the world, it's just been such a blessing to be able to interact with people that actually, remember the remasters, have the remasters. Read the magazines where like the Metal Edges that I contributed to and stuff like that. It's just, it's really overwhelming. The last couple shows at Madison Square Garden, I couldn't see half the people I was supposed to, because as I'm walking throughout Manhattan, people are stopping me everywhere. Are you Robert Conte? And it was awesome. I there's like probably 500 photographs out there of me with different KISS fans that, I met in just those 2 or 3 days that will last a lifetime, because
Awesome.
I didn't realize that, the contributions are so cared about by people, and that really touched me. So
Nice.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. I do.
He is Robert V. Conte. This has been an amazing conversation, one that we've wanted to have for quite some time. So, Robert, we're thrilled that you gave us this much time. Great stories. Thank you so much for joining us. When that book is done, you will come back and we will talk about it, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, sounds great, guys. Thank you so much again for the invite, and looking forward to your future projects as well.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it.
All right. Good night, guys.
Tom, that was Robert V. Conte. What do you think?
Great stuff. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, I love when we kind of get into the weeds with the real KISS stuff. And even hearing his story about how he got started and how he went from a fan to kind of keeping track of all the minutia of the things and then present it to the band. And all of a sudden he becomes a catalog consultant. And anybody who bought those remaster CDs in the 90s, I remember the first thing I did for everyone is lift up that CD and read those notes, because I wanted to see what kind of little details and stories he was going to tell about each particular album. So it was great. And I especially loved finally getting an answer on why they stopped at Crazy Nights with the remasters.
And no smashes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But everybody that sees the title to this episode, I promise you, if you're listening to a KISS podcast, there's at least some part of you that's been, Robert Conte, why do I know that?
Exactly.
And you'll see, and it's because of his involvement with the remasters and his knowledge of the KISS products. And he is really, really involved. And he's got a bunch of other projects which Tom was able to geek out about and ask him about in pop culture. He's really become an expert out there in this kind of stuff. And what I liked about it the most in this interview, Tom, he didn't hold back.
No.
He told us literally like, I told them they should do this. Or, I mean, that's his baby. You wanted the best. You got the best. Yep. And he fucking destroyed it. Really.
Yeah.
And how about, and he told us the secrets behind it and what's really out there. And how does that not get your blood going when he's like, you should have heard what it was, or that poster that they had that no one's seen. All this shit, fascinating fucking stuff.
And how he's one of 3 people, I think he said, that actually has the DAT recording of the way that the things were supposed to be released and some of the things that,
Here come the KISS tards.
Yeah, exactly. Just incredible. But I love having one of these like little geek out sessions with another super KISS fan. It's fun.
Guys, he was super friendly, super kind, great guy. And we loved having him on. And who knows what comes down the pike down later on. We might have him back to have some more further discussion. But he knows his KISS stuff. And he was a fascinating guest. And we hope you liked it.
Yep, absolutely.
Tom, what we do next is we go to Question of the Week.
Yep, and our Question of the Week is brought to you once again by the great Shout It Out Loudcast Hall of Famer, Tony the Taxman Barone of abcpainc.com. We know the tax date has passed, but that doesn't mean that you didn't file an extension, or maybe you need some other assistance with Tony, because he can take care of your personal and business needs, tax preparation, accounting, anything like that. Go to his website, abcpainc.com, and click on the links there for all the services he provides. And it doesn't matter where you live, because he's available to provide services in all 50 states. There's links to send him a message, phone number, everything that you need. Everything you need is there, and Zeus and I can speak from personal experience. We have had him take care of our taxes multiple times. He's awesome, communicative, and of course, he's a KISS fan and a Rush fan, and that's a little bonus for me. Zeus tolerates him being a Rush fan, but that's okay. But anyways, Tony the Taxman, abcpainc.com. And our question of the week comes from longtime listener and supporter Keith Wetzel. I like this question. Hey guys, a possible question of the week for you. Well, yes, it's being read right now, Keith.
Hey, you gotta do it the right way. Say that first line in the beginning.
Oh. Hey guys. Keith Wetzel.
So stupid. They're so stupid, but
Hey guys. Question of the week. Wow. Favorite segment. Love listening to it. Really insightful. With Pandemic Paul's new Renaissance lifestyle And with him not wanting to recognize what he has done in the past occasionally, do you feel that he's taking the Howard Stern route? If you follow Howard, he is a shell of his former self and rarely discusses what he's done in the past.
Yeah, because I think they're both fucking reliant on therapy and therapists that they almost hate their former selves and hate certain aspects of their life and have come to the point where they've got the formulaic expressions and sayings on how to answer those things. And it's nothing that's authentic. It's just rehearsed bullshit that's been put in their heads by their therapists.
Nailed it. I'll add a little bit to this. I actually think what Paul is doing is more egregious than Howard. And the reason I say is I get it. I was a diehard Stern fan in the heydays. I don't listen to him really anymore. He does still do great interviews, but everybody does great interviews these days. I think Howard, his excuse is, okay, maybe he's mature, he's grown up, he's an old man, he's in his 70s or whatever. He's changed his tune. He's become like a friggin' interviewer guy who has some fun. Paul, there's no excuse to behave the way he does, because he's Paul Stanley from KISS. He's the star child who's been around for 50 years. There's no excuse for him to behave the way he does. But I do think, Zeus, as you were talking, I was kind of pointing, to the camera there on the computer, and you're right, the therapy thing, both of them have been in long time intensive therapy, which is fine. I'm a proponent and I'm an advocate of mental health and therapy, so I'm not saying that as a criticism. But sometimes when you are deep in it and you're going really, it's going to affect everything that you do as you continue to mature and as you grow. So I think it's a really good comparison. I think it's a great comparison, but I think what Paul's doing is a little bit more egregious than Howard, in my opinion. So
yeah, to each their own, right?
Yeah, agreed. But anyways, Keith, great question. We appreciate it, buddy, and always appreciate your support with the show. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. Tom, where can people find us?
The website is always the place to go, shoutoutoutloudcast.com. That's where you can find all the episodes, the Shout It Out Loudcast episodes, Dorm Damage, Album Review Crew, Zeppelin Chronicles, all of our social media links to our Amazon shopping page, links to our Shout Out Loudcast merch page, Patreon, everything is there. You can also click on all the fun links there, especially our guests and friends of the show that we've had on. Zeus has been working tirelessly to get that up to date. You can see the pictures, some really nice candid photos of us interacting with these guests during the Zoom calls. You click on those links, it'll take you directly to their website or their social media links or whatever they have. So that's a lot of fun. And of course, our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our email address. If you want your question of the week, please use our email address, shoutoutoutloudcast@gmail.com. And as we always say, we read every email that you send, so continue to please do that. Even if we can't get to it on the show, please do that. And as always, we like to say that we're a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network of shows.
Yeah, Tom, people can DM us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on Threads, TikTok. Find our Spotify playlist, which correlate with each episode per podcast. So we have some for Dorm Damage, ARC, Shout It Out Loudcast, Zeppelin Chronicles. And you find it by going to our profile of Shout It Out Loudcast, not the podcast section, okay? And then please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is consistently growing, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you so much for that. And give us one of those 5-star child reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, wherever you can give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. And then we'll read it on the episode and give you a shout out for doing so. So if you do that, we really appreciate it. And as Tom mentioned, the website, shoutitoutloudcast.com, shoutitoutloudcast.com, where you can get so much stuff. Our merch page is there. You can see all the different merch that we have and shirts and designs. They're putting up new ones all the time. Our Amazon store is there too. You can click on that and search through everything. And in addition to that, we have tons of different rankings. We just ranked Carnival of Souls. We did a bunch of other stuff recently. ARC stuff goes up. Check out what we've done in the past and have some fun with it and comment on it. Feel free to leave your comments. And hopefully we'll have some fun there. And then finally, guys, we always like to leave with famous last words. Tom, do you got any?
Of course. Get up and get your grandma out of here. Pick up. Old Jim is working hard this year. And baby, do the things he says to do.
It's been a month or two since I've been sleeping with you. I'm coming home again. I've been to East and West, but baby, I like best the road that leads to you. I got to work on my Paul Stanley.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Robert V. Conte. Tom. Loudcasters, Kiss Army. Thank you.
Robert V. Conte, thank you so much. Ton of fun. Great interview. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Loudcasters, Patreons, everybody out there, you guys rock. Thank you so much. Zeus, as always, my friend. Thank you.
Peace out, Girl Scout. Hit the music. What I'd like now is for all you fat, out-of-shape, worldwide Kiss cards to keep the noise down while I show your ladies what a real sexy man looks like.
Listen, all you people out there sitting on rented furniture, settle down.
Cut the music. Anybody seen Richie? Anybody know why Richie did Bobby Lupo?